out.
Well, let's get more on this now from political analyst Calvin Dark, who joins us from Washington. Mr. Dark, thank you for being with us. How significant was President Biden's speech for you?
It was very significant. Obviously, it's historic, being the first sitting president to speak at that church. There's so much significance to that location. Not only, of course, it being Dr. Martin Luther King's home church, but also where the current pastor is Senator Raphael Warnock, who was just reelected to the Senate. And so even though this was billed as not a political speech, and I think Biden even said as much, the politics around it were clear because he needed to speak to African-American voters, particularly in the red Republican state of Georgia, who defied all odds and elected Biden president and 2 Democratic senators. So this is some foreshadowing if he wants to run in 2024. So that was part of the significance we saw today.
So President Biden, as you mentioned there, looking to appeal to African-American audiences. What are African-Americans looking for from President Biden?
I think they're looking for a plan because one of the things is Biden made a lot of promises to the African-American community. Some of the things he's gotten accomplished, some of the things he hasn't. And folks understand that politicians can't necessarily accomplish everything that they promise, but there needs to be a plan. We're in a time now where the House of Representatives, controlled by the Republicans, will not be passing any legislation, no matter what Biden said today or in the future. We understand that, but we have to actually see a plan, and we have to see Joe Biden doing as much as he possibly can through executive action to make efforts towards the promises he made in 2020.
Are there any particular unfulfilled promises that African-American voters will be looking for President Biden to follow through on?
I think the biggest is doing a voting rights bill, but one that's actually already been passed by the House under the Democrats, that will enshrine a lot of the protections that aren't available in all states, like in Georgia and other states in the South. And there are other civil rights protections. There's a rise in hate crimes against African Americans, also against Latinos, Asians, members of the LGBTQ community, as well as the Jewish community. So there's a list of things that need to be done. And Biden was saying, you know, he's working towards the soul of America, and it was pointing to a lot of those things not yet done.
You were very diplomatic earlier. You said that, you know, politics does sometimes take a detour here, there and everywhere. But do you think African-American voters are disappointed in President Biden?
I think that the support is lukewarm. And I think that one of the goals of the speech today was to remind the African-American community, you know, from the Biden White House, that they haven't forgotten, that they understand that they haven't delivered all that they said, but that of the alternatives we have in the United States, they are by far the party that's at least working towards the things that are important to the African-American community.
Okay, Calvin Dark from Washington, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, the Australian